So, The Haunting of Hill House. I'm doing like a one of those like Netflix versus book things, and I have just finished reading Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. And I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised. I bought this book purely so I could do the comparison video for you guys, because I thought that'll be fun. I loved the Netflix Haunting of Hill House. Netflix Haunting of Hill House. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really scary, creepy, like, but really good that it was in a number of episodes and not just one film, and it felt drawn out but not too drawn out. There was enough detail in there. I just really enjoyed the Haunting of Hill House Netflix show. It was great. So when I picked up the book, when I picked it up in Waterstones, the man behind the counter was like, it's so good, you'll love it, it's a phenomenal read, it's really scary, and I thought, fantastic, I love a scary read. Like, I love me a scary read, and I don't often read adult scary reads. Usually I'm like a Alex Bell, Charlotte Says sort of horror girl, so I was really intrigued by this, and ghost stories are my favourites, so like, everything about this book I should have loved. For starters, I was pretty surprised that the book and the film have zero in common, and I'm talking basically zero in common. The Netflix series is all about a family and how they used to live at Hill House, and how, by the way, spoilers all the way through this, so sorry, but how they used to live at Hill House and how the house has followed them since they've left the house, and they're all haunted, and their mother killed herself in the house because of the house, and the house is trying to bring them all home back to their mother so that they're safe in the house, because everything outside of the house is unsafe, according to the 1920s ghost girl that walks around and the mother, who is now mental and living in their house. I just ruined the whole series for you, so if you haven't watched it, I did warn you, I did say spoilers. Moving on. The book. Now, there is no family, there is no like relatives, there is a doctor who wants to do a research paper on hauntings, and so invites 3 people, one who is a relative of someone who owns the house, one who had a previous ghostly poltergeisty experience in her childhood, and one who is particularly sensitive to the paranormal, invited them to come and stay for the summer at Hill House so that they could monitor any ghostly goings on. Yeah. In fact, the only similarity is the name Eleonora and Theodora. That's it. Eleonora? Eleanor. And Theodora. So literally the only similarity. Unfortunately, another dissimilar point about these two things is that Hill House Netflix is scary. Hill House book is not scary in any way. I was very disappointed by Shirley Jackson's inability to build up to a scary moment. So there are points within this book, for example, so when Eleanor and Theodora first, I'm gonna call her Theo, well, Eleanor and Theo first hear the ghost coming, and it's banging on the doors, and it's like trying to get in, and it's going up and down the corridor. So that moment did happen in the Netflix show, but it was scary. And in the book, which I usually find more scary because I have quite an avid imagination, we found that literally the girls just got into bed, and then it said, and it was banging, and it was banging, and the banging was going down, and there was no build, it just happened. There was no, she woke up in the night and slowly it got colder and colder, and she could feel the hair on the back of her neck, and then slowly the whispering came through the wall, and Eleanor didn't know what to do, and then there was footsteps that she could hear, and she didn't know what was going on, and she was half in and out of consciousness, and then a sudden bang came at the door. There was nothing like that. There was just, Eleanor woke up and could hear someone shouting her name. She ran into Theo's bedroom, got into Theo's bed, and suddenly there was a banging at the door. Really? Like, do we not deserve? I mean, this book is really short. It's like 200 pages. Could we not have had an extra 100 pages explaining, building up to these moments, building up the tension, the atmosphere, the essence of a ghost story is the atmosphere, it's the building, it's the padding around the moments, and there was none of that in this book. Especially after the scary moments in the middle of the night, you would find that Theo and Eleanor, they found the doctor and Luke, and then they went to sleep, and then they woke up in the morning and they laughed about it over breakfast. And yes, it's a bit creepy in the way that these happens, and the way that you see that Eleanor is going off on a tangent and not quite connected with the group anymore, and you see slowly that the house starts to take over her mind, but you miss any internal dialogue other than just Eleanor's ramblings. You don't... Eleanor, when she runs up the stairs in the middle of the night and she's finally being overtaken by Hill House, and this whole scene where she is banging on doors and running around and going a little bit crazy, this whole scene should be the climax of the book. It should be the terrifying moment where Eleanor is laughing and cackling like she's been possessed by the house. It should be the moment at the end of Netflix when the mother is running around the house and she thinks she's asleep and she doesn't remember this moment and she's just running around the house chasing after somebody. And in the Netflix show, it does that. There is so much time put into that moment, so many things happen, But the book, it's about 2 pages, and it just happens, and then she's at the top of the stairs and she's like, oh, should I come down now? And there's never any huge explanation of why the library has such significance to Eleanor. There's no revelation other than the fact that, you know, she used to read to her mother and she may or may not have ignored her mother when her mother died, but that is all. There are so many beautiful tangents that Shirley Jackson could have gone down to really build this fear, to build the story, to build Eleanor's nervousness of going into the library and why was this. Like, the library was touched upon at the start when they first came into the house and I was like, I can't go in there. I can't go in there. And then it was ignored for a while, and then she was suddenly happy to go in there on her crazy last night, but that was it. And then the book suddenly ends and she kills herself, which I'm sorry was obvious was going to happen, but she's nowhere near crazy enough at this point. She's nowhere near driven to the end. There aren't enough haunting moments for that to have happened. It hugely disappointed me. I was expecting to have to put the book down and stop reading because of how much it scared me, and I've had to do that before. It's not that I don't have an imagination. I mean, Charlotte says I had to put the book down multiple times and walk away from it because I was too scared. I had to watch a comedy movie after reading some of the pages because I was too scared. In fact, the Netflix show, the number of times I had to turn that off because it was scaring me too much. In fact, the only thing that impresses me about this book is that it inspired the Netflix show. The only thing that impresses me. Other than that, I don't see any point. This book was fine to read. I read it in about 2 days and I found it pleasant. But I'm sorry, there is no horror book on this planet that is good and you would describe as pleasant. It should not be a pleasant experience. It should be a haunting, horrible, gut-wrenching, nerve-wracking experience that leaves you terrified to go to the bathroom alone in case there's a ghost in the mirror. That's what it should do to you. Instead, this left me a little bit like, yep, expected, yep, that makes sense. Meh, not that scary, it's fine. Highly disappointed, and it's not often that I get that disappointed about a book, guys. It really isn't. If someone else has read this book and enjoyed it, please let me know. Like, was I missing something? Did I read this too quickly and therefore just completely miss the point? But then, I don't know, if it's that easy to miss the point, I mean, I did focus my attention on it. I don't know. I would, however, highly recommend, for the first time in my life, I would highly recommend the TV show over the book. That's right, guys, this is no longer a book review channel, it is a Netflix review channel. Also, H&M Home little bunny mug. Do we like this? I love this. It arrived like a few days ago and I love it. Okay, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Book Sundays, and I will be back soon in a couple of days. Have a lovely day. Thanks, guys.